When you look at Deshaun Watson's play, he always has this team in the game. He always finds a way to make the plays in situational football moments. And the one huge difference between Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson is this. When it's rolling for Lamar Jackson and when the Baltimore Ravens are up, he can keep pounding you. He can keep pouring it on. But Deshaun Watson doesn't need that. Deshaun Watson can be behind. Deshaun Watson can be in positions where his arms and his legs and his mind have to make plays for this team to win. These guys were selected in the same draft, and that's Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And many people thought going into that draft that Deshaun Watson should have been first before Mitchell Trubisky, before Patrick Mahomes. And he's done nothing but show us that we were correct in believing that. Now, is Patrick Mahomes the better quarterback right now? Yes, because he has the better situation. But I think moving forward, Deshaun Watson becomes that number 2 guy to Patrick Mahomes' number 1.
Couple of things. Number one, Ryan Kellerman, it's only an hour show today, not 2 hours. That's number one.
Wow.
Number two, I see you all over the place a little bit there. You understand? I mean, damn. All right, I mean, leave something for a brother to say. Here's the deal. Before I even get into the football analysis, y'all, let me be real serious for a second here by saying I so appreciated Deshaun Watson's emotion, and I think it's important to recognize what he said. He talked about being trusted. He earned the organization's trust. He didn't get the money just because of how he performs on the field. He got the money. He got the contract because of how he goes about the business of conducting himself in leading that franchise. So many of these cats want their money because they want you to look at what they do specifically on the field and stop there. But particularly in the sport of football, when you have a profound effect on people in the locker room because of the status you hold and the position you play, it's incredibly important that you prove that you're trustworthy and reliable as a professional. I hope everybody heard Deshaun Watson break that down because that matters. That's a big reason why he got that money. Now, having said all of that, let me say this. I've always been a Deshaun Watson fan. I've always considered him a considerably better passer than Lamar Jackson. I've always looked at him and said, excuse me, he can run the football too when he wants to, so he's more complete. But I think the loss of DeAndre Hopkins, for me, Ryan Clark, is why I don't feel that way about the rivalry question when it comes up to Patrick Mahomes. Because I think that Baltimore utilizes Lamar Jackson in a fashion that will make them a bigger threat to Kansas City than Houston will be under the stewardship of Bill O'Brien. Yes, Deshaun Watson can ball, and we understand that Will Fuller's no scrub. Brandon Cooks came over from the Los Angeles Rams or what have you. We get all of that. We understand that. But in the end, when I'm looking at these guys, I don't see Houston really do anything. They'll battle for the AFC South crown, which I think Tennessee should be the favorites, by the way. But you know what? I'm not sold on them. Whereas with Baltimore, they were the number 1 offense in the NFL primarily because they were the number 1 running attack in the NFL. And who was their leading rusher? Lamar Jackson with over 1,200 yards rushing. This brother is electrifying. He scares the living hell out of opposing defenses. He compromises secondaries because you have to keep a spy on him at all times because of his breakaway electrifying ability. And I think that in and of itself, along with the Ravens organization and Harbaugh as an upgrade over Bill O'Brien, I think puts Baltimore in a better position to be a rival and Lamar Jackson in a better position to be a rival to Patrick Mahomes rather than the now compromised Deshaun Watson. Because I don't give a damn what anybody say. You don't lose DeAndre Hopkins and get better at the quarterback position when you are robbed of that weapon to rely upon.
Listen, I think you're being short-sighted, though, Stephen A. Like, you're looking at it today. You're looking at it in the vacuum of what Lamar Jackson was last year and what you expect from the Houston Texans in losing DeAndre Hopkins this year. But we're talking about the totality of these two men's career. Like, when you look at the deal that both of these guys have, this is decades. Or this is a decade of play. And just this 1 year doesn't factor in because now Lamar has to get his money. And when Lamar gets his money, how do the Baltimore Ravens build around him then? How do they build outside the numbers for him to make plays? I think Deshaun
They don't have much around him now.
Deshaun Watson is Right, no, but what he can do is run the football. But in order for him to win a championship, they got to build outside the numbers. They have to make sure that when he does get down to the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs, when he does get down to the Los Angeles Chargers in the playoffs, they have someone on the outside that can make plays for Lamar Jackson when the running doesn't do it. And we haven't seen that the last 2 years. But what we have seen is even with DeAndre Hopkins on the field, Deshaun Watson make something out of nothing. Deshaun Watson make plays when there are no plays to be made, that he can push the ball down the field with his arm as well. This is not an indictment on Lamar Jackson.
Let me ask you a
question.
question.
But when you look at the future of these two men, yeah, go ahead.
When the Baltimore Ravens won their 2 Super Bowls, albeit years ago, when they won their 2 Super Bowls, who was their threat outside the numbers? Outside the numbers. I know Bolden, I mean, listen, who was their threat outside?
Yeah, so you go, Trent Dilfer was the first quarterback, so it doesn't really matter.
That's right. And Flacco was the second. And Flacco was the second.
But Joe Flacco was the threat because Joe Flacco could push the ball down the field deep. And then he got hot during that time. It wasn't necessary, but it wasn't necessarily that they had the outside receiver. It's that they had a quarterback who was efficient at doing that at that time. Lamar Jackson is not. Lamar Jackson is going to need that number 1 wide receiver who can make those plays, who can go up one-on-one and do things. And until they build around him in that way,
who's that for
it's going to be trouble. How do you?
Who's that for Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson. What I'm telling you is Deshaun Watson doesn't need that as badly. Now that you have Brandon Cooks, you have Will Fuller, you have Kenny Stills, all of these guys can get down the field, and Deshaun Watson can make plays with them.
Ryan.
All right. I'm
just telling you. Well, you know, this is why you started
Ryan.
asking
I don't know about that one,
because you had no answers on your side.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Steve.
I'm not ashamed.
Ahead,
I ain't got no damn football answers compared to you. I know that.
Right.
But damn it, I asked you a question. You didn't have no answer either about who was the outside. You didn't say the quarterback. You said they need somebody
Nobody
outside.
remembers.
I said when the Ravens were, who was outside? Who was outside? Then you didn't have an answer. And you the football expert and a champion. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.